I'd like to ask all board members to refer to the consent agenda and see if any items need to be moved to new business at this time. Please check the consent agenda. We'll take 2 minutes to look at it, please.
If I may, while you're looking, item number 16 is the resolution. As you can see, it says the school board in the city of Suffolk, Virginia, expressing its support for the call of action initiated by the Virginia Education Association and the Virginia Parent-Teacher Association through the Put Kids First campaign, and authorizing the school board chair to execute on behalf of the school board the Put Kids First resolution on the Virginia Education Association and Virginia Parent-Teacher Association. You may recall you received a copy of that last month.
Can we get a motion?
I move do we accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Board Member Bouchard?
Yes.
Board Member Brooks-Buck?
Yes.
Board Member Byram?
Yes.
Board Member Mitnick?
Yes.
Board Member Skeeter?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Copeland?
Aye.
Chairman Dobransky?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Unfinished business, Dr. Whitney, proposed
Yes.
financial plan for next year.
As you may recall, last month during our board meeting, we did present my proposed financial plan. And that information was based on the information that we had at the time from the state as far as our budget and as far as projected amounts that we would be receiving. There has been some amendments by the state. In fact, the General Assembly has, as you well know, concluded. We do see where we will receive an increase from the state. The primary difference is the amount that we'll receive for teacher raises or in support staff. However, I will let you be very mindful of the fact that those are SOQ positions, so it's not every teacher and it's not necessarily every staff member. But as you have shared in the past, your desire is when we do give a raise that we compensate all based on what we feel is appropriate. I'm going to call to the podium Ms. Wendy Forsman to share with you some of those changes and where we are right now. Do realize that your priority has been and will continue to be, from my understanding, salaries as far as teachers are concerned, and obviously we included that as far as the Evergreen study that took place throughout the beginning of this year. Ms. Forsman.
Good evening.
This begins on page 14, excuse me.
Page 14, sorry. The proposed plan, as Dr. Whitney said, changed by the General Assembly's actions. And so the revenue for the operating fund came in at $132,548,876. So the total budget then becomes $151,587. I'll get that out. $151,587,774. Sorry. Too many fives, too many ones. The General Assembly made several changes to the budget. First of all, they added a compensation supplemental funds line, which is specifically designed to provide a 1.5% raise for SOQ teachers and instructional staff, support staff. That 1.5% raise has already been included in the budget we've proposed, with a small exception, and we'll get to that in just a moment. They reduced basic aid by $101,697 because, again, they estimated sales tax higher by $156,000. They also further reduced the employer share for the retirement by 0.07, which was a $26,000 reduction in the revenue that they give us towards our retirement. And then they also tweaked the formula for class size reduction and for ESL, and there was a very small decrease in those by $1,984. So that's how we get to the $132 million revenue. For the line about state compensation funding, these funds from the state are contingent upon the revenues of the state meeting or exceeding their estimates by June 30th. We will not have that information until the middle of July as to whether or not they met those revenues. So we do not know at this time that we'll actually receive that money. In addition, there's a small adjustment that we'll need to make in our current proposal to make sure that we meet the 1.5 raise for all staff. It cannot be included in the phase-in, so it has to be above and beyond the phase-in, and it has to be certified by the school division by January 2016. It also is a 10.5-month raise, so it gets a little crazy with the dates. But basically, they provided prevailing costs, or averages across the state, times their portion, in other words, the SOQ positions that they pay for, and then they subtracted that from the composite index to get to that $657,000.
You said they subtract that from the composite index, which we're supposed to
All
be
state
getting,
money,
right?
yes. All state money is subtracted by the composite index, because the composite index, as you know, is the portion that the locality has to pay towards anything that is charged to public schools. So the state compensation funding, $658,000, will need to be our expenses will need to be adjusted to comply by $270,000. So we'll have to raise expenses by $270,000 to make sure that we comply with the requirements of that raise. So the difference becomes $387,028. The other basic expense adjustments, as you can see here, provided $25,585 in revenue. So currently, the revenue would be $132.5 million, and expenses would come in with that $270,000 adjustment at $132.1 million, leaving a $412,613 difference.
So what that says is that's $412,000 that we did not plan, or I did not plan for with the original proposal that you received last month. Looking at that amount, it would be my recommendation to use that amount to attempt to implement Phase 2, which involved the 33, I think it was 31 to 33 positions that were 10 to 20% below market. Now, it would not address all of those 33 positions, but we would look at those positions that were at the highest level, or the greatest difference as far as below market value. That would be my recommendation. Again, that's $412,000. You may recall that Phase 2 was roughly $680,000. So again, it would not address all of those positions. They, in turn, would move to the new Phase 2, if indeed this was the route that we were to take.
Ms. Forsman, what percentage of Suffolk Public Schools staff are SOQ?
I don't have the percentage, but I can tell you of support staff, the state provides, let me pull back. The state provides funding for support staff for 250 positions. We have 278 positions.
So roughly 80 or 85% or so, is that correct? Give or take.
Close, yes, sir.
And that was support staff.
That's just
right?
support staff.
No, this is not obviously something that we would expect an action on tonight. We will be, as you can see in the agenda later, ask that we perhaps have another meeting within the next week or two to vote on the proposed budget. But again, when we think back to the original proposal, obviously it included only Phase 1 that we would deal with. This would include part of Phase 2, the 33 positions that were 10 to 20% below market, some of those.
Can we have further discussion on this?
Would that have anything to do with the city's portion of the budget?
No, it would not. We still would be requesting the $3.8 million from the city to address Phase 1.
What you've got to realize is everybody's getting this raise, so it would put us on an unequal balance if we put that in there and didn't ask the city for it. Does that make sense? If the city doesn't pay the 3.8 that we asked for, and we take this and add it to it, we're going to still be running out on a lower end because everybody's getting this money. Every school system in Virginia is getting this money. Does that make sense now?
Yes.
Other questions for Mrs. Forsman or myself?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Forsman.
Setting school board meetings for next year.
Yes. As I said, generally, you like to have an additional meeting after the public input session. I have some suggested dates on page 17. You'll note that there are 4 dates, Tuesday, March 17th, which is also the date that 3 of you serve on the Prudent Board. We could have the meeting at Prudent at 4 o'clock, if that's something you'd like to do. The Prudent meeting begins at 5:30. The other dates that I've included are March 18th at 3 p.m., location to be determined, Wednesday, March 25th at 3 p.m., and then on Thursday, March 26th, pretty flexible there, a.m. or p.m.
I could not meet on any of those dates on the Tuesdays or Wednesdays because I'm out of town. I couldn't meet on the 26th.
Won't be available on the 25th or 26th.
No, I'm at work on Tuesdays and Wednesdays in Petersburg, so I wouldn't be able to be here for those.
Monday, you're talking Monday the 16th?
No, I was saying
No, he'd
Thursday.
asked about Monday.
Oh, I'm
Is that-
sorry.
Yeah.
Monday, the 16th.
Yeah, I can work on Monday.
Let's
I
see.
could do that.
Actually, we'll be out. I will be out of town on that day, unfortunately.
How about Monday, the 23rd?
Monday, the 23rd works for me.
I won't be
We will
available.
be at,
Okay,
we'll be at
that's not good.
the National School
that
Boards
week.
Association meeting.
Well, can we hold it in April?
Well,
We-
how about the 26th? You all be gone?
I think the 26th,
He won't
Dr.
be able-
Dobransky won't be.
Oh, okay.
How about the 17th?
No,
March 17th, 4 o'clock, I
You
think.
can't do
I'll be
Tuesdays.
at work.
Is that just, you're going to choose March, the 17th at 4?
Yeah.
We could,
Could we do-
March 17th at a later time be possible, or, no, okay.
I'm at work till 9 o'clock.
Okay.
But now, on the 18th, at a later time, I could come if we did it like at 7 o'clock on the 18th.
March 18th at 7 o'clock is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Is that-
That wo-
Well, of course, that's a SEAC meeting, but, I mean, you could do it.
That work?
What time does that begin, the CA?
6:30.
It starts at 6:30 on March 18th. Is that what you're talking about, March 18th?
Could we do anything on Friday, the
We do it
20th?
7:30 then, later's not going to bother me.
7:30.
Mr. Copeland's out
Yeah,
of town.
We'll be going to the National School Boards
Okay.
Association meeting.
We just have to do the best for
Yeah. Let's do it 7:30 then, 7:30 or 8.
7:30 or what day?
March the 17th.
18th, I believe it was.
I'm sorry, 18th.
March 18th.
At 7:30?
Does that work?
Yes.
Better.
What date is that?
Wednesday,
Wednesday.
And where?
That will be determined.
yeah. We'll let you know, to be determined because of space.
So it's March 18th at 7:30,
Yes,
somewhere.
Get an email out to us.
yes, we'll send out a notice, yes.
We don't-
That's it for me.
We need a motion.
Yeah,
School calendar.
a motion for this.
We need an action. This is an action.
Can I
item.
get a motion to,
So move.
Second.
Board members will vote on the setting of a meeting to approve the school board budget for March the 18th at 7:30 at a location to be determined. School Board Member Bouchard,
Yes.
School Board Member Brooks Buck,
Yes.
Board Member Byram,
Yes.
Board Member Mitnick,
Yes.
Board Member Skeeter,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Copeland,
Aye.
Chairman Dobransky.
yes.
Motion carried.
Extended school day. Extended school.
Okay. Next, as you can see on the calendar, is a school calendar adjustments. We had a little snow, so we have had to make some adjustments. I've been in contact with each of you, and as you well know, we did extend the school day starting March 9th, but we want to formally present that to you, and of course, have you vote on that as well. Mrs. Chavis will show you our changes to make certain that we have the appropriate amount of time, instructional time, as far as for our students and meeting the state code. Ms. Chavis.
Good evening.
The state requires, in order for schools to be accredited, that students attend school either 180 days a year or 990 hours. We also have to make sure that those students taking credit-bearing courses, whether it's in middle school or high school, meet the required 143 seat hours. And for us, we then have to look very closely at even days and odd days to make sure that requirement is met. What we've shown you here would be the 7 days that we missed on the far left side of this column, and the original date or the original activity that was taking place on those days, and then the changes that were made based on the time that we missed. And so we missed 2 days of February 17th and 18th. We did not have to make those days up because we had enough hours banked in our calendar to adjust and not require students to attend school. February 19th and 20th, there were early release days. One was to be used for professional development for teachers. The other was a clerical day for teachers. So all students will now attend school for a full day on February 19th and 20th. If you look further down, I'm sorry, on March 19th and April 3rd, I apologize. If you look further down, you see June 10, 11, and 12th. They were also early release days for all students for exams purposes for middle and high school students. Because our elementary students are not involved in exams, we're now requiring those students to come to school to make sure that they meet their required seat time of 990 hours. So there will be full days for elementary schools. Our middle and high school students will be involved in exams, and they will have a half day. Then the last 2 days that need to be made up are last 3 days, 25th, 26th, and 27th. You can see that the recommendation or the action taken by the superintendent was to extend the school day by an additional 15 minutes. And so the original start and end times are listed there, and then the new start and end times, and that is for all students as well. That ends the presentation.
Questions? Concerns? I have a question. Is the 15 minutes, Tad, divided by all the different periods, the 6 or 7 periods, or is it all added to one specific class?
It is distributed throughout the school day.
Good.
So for high school, I think an additional 4 minutes was added to each bell, and then the elementary principals are adjusting their schedules and within the school as well.
I'd like to make a comment. I got a call from several of our parents, and they were pleased with our attempt to accommodate their wishes, which was to add on time rather than to take a day. Really appreciate your looking into that. Any other comments or questions? Need a motion.
I move that we accept the makeup time schedule as presented by the superintendent.
Second.
Board Member Bouchard?
Yes.
Board Member Brooks-Buck?
Yes.
Board Member Byram?
Yes.
Board Member Mitnick?
Yes.
Board Member Skeeter?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Copeland?
Aye.
Chairman Dobransky?
Yes.
Motion carried.